intro music or something.
Oh no, that's copyright. I can't use that.
No, it's got. Go on, then. Go on. Then. You've learnt how to spell surprise. Go on. Well done. Hello, good evening, and welcome to nobody on there at the moment, but I'm sure they will be in a bit, as always. So, hello, Mr. Wayne. So I'm absolutely bloody knackered.
Good evening.
How you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Got over my. Sorry.
What happened? Did you hear? Have you heard back about the RAF?
No, not yet, because the second lockdown ruined it. So it all went a bit. They turned around and said that at the moment, because of COVID, we have to postpone all of the appointments and that. But the last I heard was that they wanted me to redo the entrance test.
Yeah.
It turned out that I'd scored 98.2%. The only problem was it was 0.2% shy of the job I wanted. So they've asked me to go back and redo the entrance exam because they want me to do. They want me in the RAF police.
You know you're going to be an arsehole if you do that. You're going, "Oi, Sonny, come here."
Well, it will be, but it'll be the worst thing will be the fact that not only do they want me in the RAF police, but they want me to go through RAF Cranwell, which is officer training school. So
keep us informed. Let us know how it goes on.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping. I mean, I've gone on a bit of a diet and I'm getting more exercise now, so I'm losing the weight. So physical side of things is going quite well. So
I've been doing got a rowing machine and I use that. But the last few days, I have to admit, I've looked at the rowing machine and gone, I can't be arsed.
Yeah, I just do loads of walking. I walk the kids to school now because if I take both Ethan and Chloe to school, that's near enough a 3-mile trip.
I wish I could walk 3 miles.
She's waddled around shopping and stuff today, and
almost gave birth.
She almost gave birth in Tesco's. Yes, that's quite amusing.
So I'm doing way over my 10,000 steps each day. So it's
go for it, mate. Anything that makes you slightly out of breath and raises the heart rate slightly and makes you slightly moist with sweat.
You've done a good job. For half an hour, isn't it? You have to raise your heart rate for half an hour.
Yeah, I think it's something like it's increased heart rate for 25 minutes, but then it's also a stable diet. And
I don't like eating hay.
I don't go by the guidelines they've given now. There used to be a load of guidelines in the 90s called the NACRO guidelines.
Yeah.
No, something like that. It was
paddy whack, give a dog a bone.
Yeah. And what it was basically everything in moderation, but you had to less sugar, less salt, more fiber, and more vitamins and minerals. So you could have whatever you wanted, but you just had to be careful that you had to make sure that there was less sugar and salt in the foods you were eating, mixed with the 25 minutes of exercise each day. And losing weight wouldn't be an issue, or gaining weight wouldn't be an issue. But they changed it, and then they started using this BMI thing, which never makes sense anyway, because BMI,
my BMI before I was pregnant says I was obese.
Yeah, apparently I was clinically obese as well.
I was clinically obese when I was really skinny, so I don't know how that works. But I looked into it, and it turns out the BMI does not include metabolism.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't take that in whatsoever. I'm between 14.5 and 15 stone. I always bounce in between the two, and I've got 48 chest and 38 waist. Never changes. Yep. But according to them, we've met. You've seen me. I'm clinically obese. Apparently, she's fat. She's just fat. She's like, oh, the cake.
I am obese because I'm 16.5 stone.
Yeah, but you're taller.
Yeah, I'm just under 6 foot.
What do you need to lose then? About a stone?
Well, according to them, my ideal weight should be between 12 and 13.5 stone.
Oh, you'd be gaunt, mate. You'd be like, put your arm around you, slap your own face. You'd be so skinny.
Exactly. And that's why I looked into it and discovered that it's the metabolic rate that alters everything else. If your body burns off the vitamins and the minerals and the fats and that, then you are going to lose weight, yes. But if it doesn't burn it off as quick as somebody else's does, that weight has got to be stored.
I'm lucky because I got a high metabolic rate, but this is the Dark Mirror show, and we always talk a load of old metabolics on here. We really do.
I'm just saying, Helen, she can't watch tonight's show because she's taking, I can't remember who she said, I think her daughter, to uni. So she asked if we could send her the link when we're done.
Oh, okay, yeah, no problem. We seem to be fluctuating between 1 and 5 at the moment. So, the belly is looking like it's going to explode now. Do you want
to wait for Mrs. Wayne to come back?
And I'm making sure I'm not advertising a certain shop.
Yeah, not sponsored. Not sponsored.
Ooh,
this show is not really sponsored by Greggs.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with Greggs Bavarian pastries. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there ain't. I'll tell you, I was queuing up outside our local Greggs for when the festive bakes were released.
How are they? Are they good?
They are absolutely gorgeous. They're to
We've got
die
one
for.
Just over the road, literally just over the road. So
can't go wrong with it. I went down to one of our local stores. They have they've now just recently the range down our way. They've recently had an Iceland section put in, and I kicked up a stink because they're really close to us. And when I walked in there, they hadn't got any festive bakes in there, and I'm like, "That's bang out of order. You want the festive bakes in here because I want them in my freezer."
Well, I'll tell you what. If next time we go to Greggs, if they got any, we'll buy you a couple, and then the next time we'll put them in the freezer. Next time we're down, we'll bring them down for you.
I think our Iceland's up at the other side of town. They do the actual store themselves do them. So
yeah, Iceland. We got some Greggs stuff from Iceland today.
I think it's because they've sort of rented a bit of space in a different supermarket that they've said we'll stock some bits but not all of it.
Well, and there you have it to our viewers and our Facebook viewers. Not only do you get stories about the paranormal and paranormal facts and figures, you also get dietary tips and advice.
Yeah.
Take my advice, eat Greggs. Greggs, prepare of fine pies.
Yeah, I do like Greggs.
Myself if we had a message from somebody at Greggs one day. Would you like to be sponsored?
No, it would be like, please stop mentioning us.
But what are we doing today?
Well, I've just lost it. Well, we have been doing, haven't we? We've been doing A to Z of mysterious things, spirits, ghosts, paranormal events, and spooky goings on in countries from A to B. A to B? A to Z, even.
A to Z, yeah.
Get it right. A to Z. And last week and the week before, we were doing Africa.
Yeah.
Because the week before, we did South Africa, and then we went to North Africa. And this week, we are concentrating on Barbados, Bahamas, and Belgium.
Of all places. And I thought I was going to do, what was that? Australia, and there was another one as well. But I did a show ages ago all about Australia and that bloody Pine Gap station over in Australia. It's like the area 51.
Area 51.
Of Australia. And I'll tell you one interesting fact about Pine Gap. There's one room in the whole of the Pine Gap facility that is US soil. No one is allowed in there unless you're the top brass US Air Force. Not even the Australian Air Force or anything. No one can get in there apart from US top brass. Yeah,
but that's the same as the leasehold bases that are over here.
Well, I think they probably got MTAC in there, but it's something like that anyway. But it's the stuff that goes on in Pine Gap. Oh, I'd love to get a look in there. Oh. But anyway, yes. Today we're talking about. We'll start off with the Bahamas. It was Bahamas, Barbados, and Belgium, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I found out. Well, Lynn's has done some research. Taylor's done some research, and
My
I've done
research
some
was
research.
easy because I went there.
But there's some rather interesting lighthouses in Barbados. Well, in the Bahamas. I've left some of the countries in the Bahamas out because you've got like parts of South America in there, which are going to come in later on the A to Z. You've also got Bermuda as well. But I don't know whether to do one on the Bermuda Triangle or not because it's like been done to death.
I feel like if you were going to do one, that would be one on its own. That wouldn't.
It would be.
Yeah,
it's been done to death.
The Bermuda Triangle's very. I mean, although that is the same area, isn't it? But yeah, it's been
it comes under the whole lot.
I mean, everybody says you've got differences of opinion. Some say UFOs. Some say it's natural phenomenon and it's just, being sort of passed off as something else. And was it one of these air bubbles that are coming out from the ground that swallowed these ships? But, you can turn around and say, well, okay, yeah, it could have been a large bubble coming up from the Earth's surface underwater.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a horny cat in the background. That is a cat going, I need some dick now.
And this bubble's coming up underneath this boat and the boat is sinking because of it. But that does not explain why a group of Air Force planes could go missing. An air bubble in the water is not going to make 5 planes just disappear out of the sky.
Amelia Earhart.
No, not there. Not there, no. Oh. No. Well, it's like I think I said last week or whatever it was, it's been proved that Bermuda itself has got an absolutely abnormal amount of magnetite in its base rock. And back then, because we all use modern instruments now that don't rely on magnetics or compasses, that relies on GPS and geotagging and stuff. So that doesn't affect it anymore.
Did you just see that?
See what?
Wait, lift your arm up. Go this way. Whoa! What's that?
Aliens! Yeah, and they took some readings of the place, and they reckon that if the planes were going over the top of it, it would have screwed all the compasses and everything up on it. So I don't know, but there is something in Bermuda Triangle. I don't know what, but
swiftly moving on.
Yes, Beaver, Bahamas. So there's this lighthouse, and it's in in fact, this place is well known for something else. Bimini. You must have heard of Bimini.
No.
The Bimini Road?
No.
The Bimini Road is actually under the water. And, in nature, there's no straight lines in nature. And the Bimini Road is a set amount wide, set amount straight. They think it's part of a very, 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 very old harbour. But where it is and the place, that's it, and the placement of it.
There we go. Oh.
That's it. See what I mean about the straight lines. Bless you.
Yeah. That was me. That was me swimming along it.
I'll bet it was. Yes. I didn't see a stream of methane coming out of the back of you, mate.
It's a different one there.
See what I mean? People have tried to say it's natural, and everybody's gone no. And now, no, it's not. Now scholars are saying because of where Atlantis was, is it part of what Atlantis was? Is it remains of Atlantis? But nobody knows for sure about that. But there are 2 teams out there at the moment investigating to see if the Bimini Road and all the other things that are lying around with it, if it could be related to Atlantis.
Well, how could anybody say that is natural phenomena?
It's not natural at all.
There is no way.
I've watched a lot on Bimini Road, and there's a couple in Japan as well. And you look at them, and the ones in Japan especially, they've got like massive giant steps, and there's no way you and I or anybody else could climb up these damn things. And whoever it was that was there before us, they were big.
Right. Well, if anybody can explain this as a natural phenomena, okay, I will eat everything in my entire kitchen, whether it's edible or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, some smart ass will try and come and go, well, did you know that digitally enhanced? Yeah.
Yeah.
Programmable matter. That's what it is.
Legs.
Yeah, it's you know, it's and for I mean, it's now turned into a tourist attraction as well. You know, obviously,
right, yeah.
not only have they got the researchers going there, but they've got it's open to divers to go down. It's a protected site, but
Yeah.
you can still go down there and have a nosy and swim amongst the formations of rocks and stuff that are down there. So
I'd love to go and have a look at that. It raises a lot of money for a tiny island, basically. So, and I would love. It's definitely. I think it's part of a harbour complex, but whether it's Atlantis or not, I don't know. But I would absolutely love it if they proved that it was.
well, there is a satellite photo of the Bimini Road. There we go. Oh, there we go. You can just make out the individual lines.
You see a bit there and a bit there. Yeah, it does look like a harbour, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's very maze-like as well. It looks like it's like the foundations for a small village. But it's, I mean, you can't make it out in this, but there's a really weird, like a chessboard pattern on the floor, on the surface of the ocean.
Yeah.
Certainly, you know.
It's not. It's no way is that natural.
No. Right, area blurred out by Google. There's an area that's been blurred out by Google. There's pyramids, and an area, like you say, would make a seaport.
Yeah.
I can't get used to going in reverse.
It would. It would make a port.
So that funny rectangular shaped one has been blurred out by Google for some reason.
Why the hell would they blur it out?
Exactly. That asks a lot of questions. Why did Google blur out a lot of things?
It doesn't it on certain and especially right up in the wilds of Alaska and Russia where there shouldn't be anything.
Yeah,
there's quite a few little places blurred out there.
Yeah, we do know that some governments do say they do not want these areas, and I think you can ask Google to blur out your property if you want to on Street View. You can apply to Google and have them blur out the image of your property.
Do you know, that'd be so cool? Get them to do it to our house, and people look at it, and go, "What the hell is that?
Why is your house all blurred out?"
Sorry, I can't talk about it. That'd be so cool.
The thing is, though, is the Bermuda Triangle itself goes right the way through. Is on the north, south, east, western tip of the Bermuda Triangle. So, oh man, I can't get my angles right.
There you go.
There's the Bermuda Triangle. Bahamas is sitting there, going across.
To Cuba, is it Cuba it goes to?
Goes right the way down to Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, that's it. Yeah,
so you've got the island of Bermuda itself, which is the northeastern tip.
Yeah. Then
you come right the way down to the southern tip, which is Puerto Rico, and then it goes right across to the southern tip of Florida.
See, I think one of the craziest legends I've heard, or stories I've heard about Bermuda, is there is allegedly a UFO down there, and it's been down there thousands of years, but it's so big, if it took off, it would take half the sea and land with it.
Well, the problem is there's a lot of rumours very similar to that, isn't there? Is that they claim that if the Rock of Gibraltar was to blow up, it'd take off half the planet as well, because of the amount of ammunition and exactly what type of ammunition is down there.
That's scary.
That is really. Well, it's like Yellowstone Park, isn't it? If that caldera goes up,
yes,
puts everybody into an ice age.
So Mount St. Helens, isn't it, or something like that? Is it St. Helens?
It could be. I know the caldera itself's right underneath the park.
So look, I'm sure it was Yellowstone.
Cool. But yeah, that Bimini Road, I think is worthy of a show itself. That whole area, Bimini Road and all that lot, it's definitely worthy of a show itself. But we've talked about it before in the past, and it's just nice to broach on it now. And like I say, recently they've said that there's like 2 dedicated teams there now, trying to figure out what it is, trying to unearth more stuff that's around it, and trying to find out if it was anything actually to do with Atlantis.
Well, there is. The problem is, I'm now looking at a section underwater structures in the Bermuda Triangle, and they're almost in a perfect line.
Yeah, they are.
The thing is, if there was a settlement hundreds of years ago along that section, or waterfront properties, and you see it nowadays in places like Malibu and places like that, their properties are all along the sea edge. Now, all it needs is for one bizarre earthquake, and all of those beachfront properties have gone straight into the sea.
Yeah, and all it's like one tsunami gone.
It doesn't take long for that to do. All you've got to do is look at the town of Dunwich.
Yeah. In
Suffolk, medieval England, that was the biggest medieval port in Europe.
That's right.
And within a matter of years, it ended up in the North Sea.
Yeah.
And I mean, truth beyond paranormal, we did an episode solely on Dunwich.
Did you hear the bells or anything?
No, that is literally just a rumor. There are no freestanding bells, but that was just a fisherman's tale. The old, it used to be that when the tide was up or it was stormy, that you could hear the bells from the local church. But the actual church itself fell into the cliff after the majority of the town had already gone into the sea.
Well,
fell off the cliff even.
Well, the UK was attached to France via a big landmass.
Unfortunately.
Hello, Ellen. Sorry, hang on.
No, you should have gone bonjour.
This is Mrs. Wayne. Yeah, because the fishermen there, every now and again, if they're deep dragging, they bring up skulls and spear tips and everything still in their nets.
Yeah.
Right, let's crack on with this.
Yeah, I was going to say we've literally gone from Bahamas back over to here again.
Yeah. Right, the lighthouses.
We haven't even started them yet. It's been 20 minutes.
This is one it was Bimini because it's in Bimini. That's why it got to Bimini Road.
Get on track.
This is one that Lynn's found out. The Great Isaac Lighthouse. Great Isaac Cay. It's named Great Isaac Cay on the northern end of the Bimini archipelago. Said that about spitting tea everywhere. Built in 1852 as an expo, as a showpiece for an expo in London. Okay, I never knew that. And its white cast iron tower reaches 152 feet in the air, and its light flashes every 15 seconds. Legend has it a British supply ship wrecked just offshore during the lighthouse's construction, and all the men survived except one young boy who was he was eaten by sharks.
Lovely.
Witnesses claim to have seen the ghost of the boy around the premises, and in the late 19th century, another local shipwreck produced only one infant survivor. The spirit of the child's mother, known as the Grey Lady, supposedly still haunts Bimini and Wales at full moons. I don't think they're allowed to do harpooning now. And then in 1969, the lighthouse's 2 keepers mysteriously disappeared without a trace, leaving the tower, cistern, keepers' quarters, and associated buildings to fall into disrepair. It was finally automated in the mid-70s and has remained unmanned ever since. What do you make of that? Well, everyone's a critic, young man.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of that, to be honest.
Well, there are.
It doesn't say anything about hauntings and stuff, does it?
What? I just did.
Yeah.
I just said about that.
No, but not definite,
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you? Well, that was one of the windmills, lighthouses.
Yeah, when we win the lottery, we'll go over and investigate.
Roger.
Sounds like an idea.
Well, tell you what, Taylor, do you want to talk about And I've got a thing of a list of Caribbean legends and people that they actually talk about. Let's talk about.
Would it be Captain Barbarossa by any chance?
Do you want to talk about Tata Duende, who's in Belize? Tartars. Woohoo! Duende.
After the dyslexic one.
Go on.
Talk about.
Like Duen.
Like Duen, Belize Tata Duende is also a forest dweller with backwards feet. This short bearded man wears a pointy red hat and has no thumbs.
It's me.
I'm all right. I'm not sure. I'm okay.
It reminds me of so many of our bikers. Right.
If you encounter him in the forest, you must hide your thumbs or he will slice them off and claim them as his own. Despite this, he is genuinely a benevolent protector of the forest. He is a friend to the animals and will even assist people who are lost.
Dr.
You will
Doolittle.
know Tata's whereabouts by his whistling, but be careful, he is a trickster, and these whistles can be deceptive. If they sound close, he is far away. If they sound distant, he is nearby.
That sounds like a Bigfoot. The type of Bigfoot, because they whistle.
You don't take your thumbs.
Just a smaller version.
Well, there's the those ones around Pendek that's been sighted down in is it Sumatra, somewhere around there, and that's meant to be a small hominid, hairy, not me, because I ain't got hair up here. But the only thing is the backwards feet. But most of them, they all whistle.
The thing is again, that would literally go right the way around in a full circle to what we've been saying a few weeks back about the environment changes. You know, they evolve to the environment.
Yeah.
And like we said about the recent discovery that it was the levels of ultraviolet rays hitting the earth in certain places that has changed the colours of our skin through evolution.
Yeah.
Areas that don't get much UV light will be a different colour to those that get lots of UV light.
Ginger, look at the state of our faces. Look, white.
You see, the thing is, I was Mr. Pale Skin, blonde hair, blue eye weirdo.
Yeah.
Something's got thrown at me. But over the years, my skin has darkened. And apparently, I've inherited that off of my granddad. My granddad had very pale skin.
Yeah.
And then while he was in the Navy, he was stationed over in the Caribbean. And when he came back home again, a lot of his other crewmates from other boats had seen him for the first time since he was over there and accused him of being in India. Because his skin came back. He came back, his skin was so dark through the sun.
Can you move your backside out of my face? Thank you.
They said he looked like an Indian because his skin was so dark.
There's loads of people.
My skin's starting to do the same. But I used to burn really badly. And I could go out in the sun for 5 minutes and end up with blisters on my back. But I had a bath in pure aloe vera, and I haven't burnt like that since.
Sheldon, his family are white South African, but when he goes on holiday and stuff, when he comes back, people always think that he's mixed race because of how dark he goes.
He literally goes like leather man.
But not leathery.
He goes like aged teak.
Thing is, I don't put much sun cream on either, so you know it's really weird.
I do. I have a bath in it.
Yeah, with redheads. So.
We have to top up like every half an hour.
Do you want to talk about that crypt? Because you've been there.
Can do.
And this is again, ladies and gentle chaps. This is in the Bahamas.
No, it's not.
Isn't it?
No, it's not. No.
Where is it?
No, it's in Barbados.
I thought Barbados. No, it's Jamaica. No, Jamaica. No, she did it willingly.
Barbados is literally the southern tip of the West Indies, the eastern, something like that.
Hey, Helen.
Anyway, it's part of the West Indies. And
I think she just popped on to say hello.
in an area called Oistina, or Oistins, near Christchurch in Barbados, is a cemetery. In that cemetery, there is a particular vault that was built, and that was built in 1724 originally. And it was purchased by the Chase family. So it then became the Chase family vault, which is now well known throughout the world.
Yeah.
Over the years, Lady Mary Ann Chase, no, it wasn't. It was the mother, I think it was the first one to be put in a wooden coffin. Then Mary Ann Chase was the daughter, died at the age of 2. She was placed in a lead coffin and placed inside the vault. The vault door was then sealed up. But every time over, I think it was over a course of about 15 to 20 years, whenever a member of the family died and a coffin would be placed into the vault, the stone would be removed from the doorway, which would take 7 men to lift. And every time they went into the vault, the coffins would have been moved. They'd have been disturbed. I think it got to about 1814, 1816, around that area. They had gone into the tomb, into the vault to put another coffin in, and there was a lot of rumours going around. Was it the Masons? Because there was some relation to do with the founder of the Masons in that area.
Were they a plantation family?
Yes.
Owners, yeah?
Yeah, they were a plantation family, but there was links to the Masons, and the local people were accusing the Masons of playing pranks on people because it was led to believe there was a secret vault there, which obviously they didn't want people to go into, so they created this story to scare people. But the second from last time that they went to put a coffin in there, they actually placed sand down on the floor because of the level of disturbance in the coffins, especially big lead coffins. Some of them were head down, some of them were head up, some of them propped up against the wall. They're not easy objects to move. 6-foot coffin made of lead is not going to be an easy thing to lift. The stone in front of the doorway had to be removed by 7 men. So not something that could easily be done. So they placed sand down on the floor so that if it happened again, they could rule out anything suspicious.
Yeah.
It was watertight as well, I will add. The actual seal around the doorway was watertight. They came to the conclusion there wasn't no earthquakes because no other of the vaults or the graves in the cemetery had been disturbed. It was just that one particular vault, and it happened again. When they went back, they moved the stone out the way. They've gone in, and there's no footprints on the floor whatsoever. Yet the coffins had all been upended. Lots of different stories went out there, and one of them was the fact that one of the people that was put in the vault was not a member of the Chase family, and that's what caused the problems. However, I think it was in 1820 something, around that area. Where was it? Yeah, after the last time it had happened, the locals had got scared. And obviously in early 1800s, superstition would have been rife. And in the end, they removed all of the coffins and buried them elsewhere in the cemetery and left the vault empty. And it's still empty to this day. However,
you can go there, can't you?
You can go into the cemetery and find the Chase family vault and actually stand inside the vault. I did have a picture of it here somewhere. There we go. Right. This was the original. This is the original Chase family vault, built in 17. There we go.
Creepy.
Over the years gets a bit dilapidated and ruined because people don't seem to respect it anymore. But here we go. It's another one.
What do you reckon caused it?
Being a believer in spirits, I would be tempted to say I wouldn't be surprised if it was a malevolent spirit, you know, something that doesn't like what's going on there.
The thing that gets me is the fact that none of the coffins were smashed open. So although things have been moved, there was a level of respect there.
I'd heard a number of stories, and the main one that I had heard was that there was a non-Chase family member was introduced to the vault, and the rest of the Chase family didn't like it because apparently on one incident, this one particular coffin that was the lead of the allegation was on one side of the vault, and all the others were on the other side of the vault.
That does sound like they were not impressed.
And again, when you actually read into it and you see that the stone covering that was put over the door entrance had to be removed by 7 men, it's not something that can be done without other people knowing.
Or, being devil's advocate, there's the other one that said that the Masons had another vault down there?
Yeah.
But they could have gone in and just moved things to make people think, oh, what the...
Yeah, well, they could have done, but then it would have been noticed, wouldn't it? It'd be like 7 people picking up a Mini off of someone's driveway and walking off down the road with it.
Well, no, what I mean is if there's another vault there and they came in through the vault, not through the top, but
right, yeah. If there was another way into the secret vault, which was the other allegation, if they'd found another way in, they could have come through into that section of the vault, disturbed them, and then gone back in. But then there would still be footprints on the floor.
Of course there would, yes, in the sand. Yeah.
Unless they were clever and they leveled the sand back off when they were on their way back out again. But
could be.
We're talking about 200 years ago. Would they have thought of that? Would they have been that clever?
It's the Masons, and they are a clever bunch, so you never know. But to me, it sounds like they were not happy. Can you get down, dog? Love you loads. Get down. Stop it. So one of the pugs keeps jumping up, going on my leg. It does sound like that family was not impressed at having somebody who was nothing to do with them there.
Well, this is what I think. I mean, I'm reading there's another article there. A series of unexplained incidents took place in the early 19th century at the Chase Vault. Each time the vault was opened to bury a family member, all coffins but one had changed position. So this one is in relation to one of the stories I'd heard about it. When this had happened several times without explanation over a number of years, the vault was eventually abandoned. The vault, located about 7 miles from Bridgetown, which is the capital of Barbados, was a large structure built for the Chase family and their close friends. The vault was built roughly half above and half below the ground, which allowed for some degree of protection from the elements. The first placed inside the vault was Mrs. Thomasina Goddard in a simple wooden coffin built in July 1807. 2-year-old Mary Ann Chase was placed in the vault the next year. Older sister of Mary Ann, Dorcas Chase, was then put in the vault in 1812. Some claim that Dorcas survived herself after she was forced into depression. Starved. There we go. Don't know what I was saying there. Starved herself after she was forced into depression by her father. A few weeks later, her father died, and he was then to be placed in the vault. Legend says that Thomas was one of the most hated men in Barbados. When the Chase vault was opened for the burial of Thomas Chase, the 8 pallbearers who carried Chase's coffin down into the vault were the first to notice that the 2 lead coffins already in the tomb were not where they'd been left a month earlier. Mary Ann's coffin was lying upside down in the opposite corner from where it had been placed. The workers returned the coffins to their side-by-side positions and left that of Thomas Chase next to them. The smaller coffin of Mary Ann was placed on top of the larger ones. After the crypt was released with its heavy marble door, a curious murmuring started amongst the Bajans. Some of the mourners resolved to place the blame on slaves who had assisted in the burials. The alleged cruelty of Thomas Chase towards his servant offered an easy revenge motive.
I was about to say, was there slave cruelty involved?
Then on September the 25th, 1816, the vault was opened for the burial of 11-year-old Charles Brewster Ames. As with the previous time the vault was opened, each of the coffins were misplaced and thrown about, including the 240-pound coffin of Thomas. The vault was put back in order and resealed. 52 days later, Samuel Brewster was to be buried inside the Chase vault. This time, a large group of witnesses crowded around the vault, looking for the mystery to continue. The slab of stone which covered the door was carefully examined. No defects were found, and the vault was opened. The vault was once again found in disarray. Mrs. Goddard's coffin, the only wooden one placed in the vault, was badly damaged and was later wrapped in wire to keep it together. Several investigators, including Reverend Thomas Oderson, examined the vault. Nothing could be found that would indicate a cause for the strange happenings, so the vault was once again cleaned and sealed. Again, well, it seemed to be centered around this Mrs. Goddard. Her wooden coffin on the last occasion was stacked against the wall. And then obviously the next opening of the vault was not for a burial, but for the governor's curiosity. On April 18th, 1820, the governor and several friends travelled to the vault and found the seal was unbroken. When the vault was opened, however, it was found that the coffins in disarray, some flipped upside down, and the sand revealed no footprints. And then after that, it was abandoned. The coffins were buried elsewhere. But they've left the actual crumbs. They've left the actual almost knocked me coffee over. They've left the vault itself. The main structure of the vault is still there.
If we ever had the money, go over and investigate and spend the night there.
Thing is, I was there in 1987, and we'd been into that area, but my nan was with us at the time, and she was quite a religious person and didn't want to go in there and be nosy. I was up for it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's do a few more things here from the Barbados and surrounding areas. Yes. Well, do you want to? We've got a list of all the scary stuff from around there, so let's go with
hot.
old. So as they would say, Yaman, old Higu,
Eagle man.
It's Higue, but it's old Higu, but they say old Higu. This creature goes by many names across the Caribbean: old Higu, hag, or the Sukian.
My mother-in-law.
The mother-in-law is a shapeshifter who appears as an old woman during the day, and at night she sheds her skin and places it in a calabash or mortar, and then wanders in the form of a fireball looking for victims, normally children or babies, to feast on their blood. So she's a lovely, lovely person, and yes, somebody's mother-in-law. To expose old Higu, you must pour rice on your doorstep. She'll be compelled to count every grain before morning. So this is a witch with terminal OCD, and will often start over for accuracy. You should also place burning agents in her mortar to damage her skin, such as salt or hot peppers.
But how do you find her mortar?
Follow the smell of fish. That sounds delightful.
Also, if she's a fireball, how do burning agents work on her skin?
Because she shakes her skin off and puts it in there to save it later.
Yeah, but if she's made of fire, then it wouldn't bother her.
Well, then they clearly haven't thought that far into the legend, have they? What about? Let's have a look here. There you go. La Diablesse.
No, you're reading.
Oh, good God, woman. There's also, another one. She's a devil woman. La Diablesse, who's in the east of the Bahamas. Taking the form of an attractive woman, she wears a long white dress to hide her cloven foot and a wide-brimmed hat to shade her deformed face. On full moon nights, she wanders the roads, seducing men to follow her onto hidden paths where they fall into a gully. That was silly. Or are drowned in a river. Again, that was silly.
Oh, I thought it said her gully.
Fall in her gully.
Yeah.
Hey, that's how you got pregnant. Dear, oh dear. You want to read something? It's not a gusset, it's a gully. Causing men to fall into her gusset and disappear.
That makes sense.
Oh. Actually, I saw American Gods, I think it was, the series American Gods. And one of the gods on that, the woman would wear hay with the bloke, and the bloke would get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and disappear up her. Reminds me of my ex.
Sounds like inner space.
Is this like during one session or multiple sessions? He just gets
No,
shorter
she
and
when
shorter and
it was on the series, you watched. It's American Gods. You can see it on Netflix and that. She basically bonks the living daylights out of a bloke, and if the bloke makes her have fun,
yeah,
then he gradually gets sucked up into there.
But like in one go.
In one session, yeah.
Wouldn't you keep him around?
Here a dear. What? Here's one that's got quite a creepy one. It's called the Heart Man, and this is in Barbados. The Heart Man apparently is particularly gruesome. He carves out the hearts of his unfortunate victims, particularly though the cat just fell off. You are not very aloof, are you, cat? She went to put her paw on the table and went whoop and fell off. Yeah, he likes to carve out the hearts of his victims, particularly those of disobedient children, and then offers them to the devil in worship. In some different stories or different bits of the story, he waits in the tall sugar cane, and in others he drives a black hearse and does not have a heart of his own. That reminds me of the voodoo stories of is it Papalegua? Yeah, with the tall hat. Because he's not supposed to have one, is he? A heart, that is.
He's supposed to
No.
treat children as like rent, isn't he?
Rent?
Yeah, like when you have to pay him yearly or whatever. That could just be an American Horror Story.
It might just be an American Horror. But to be fair, Papalegua and the crow and everything, all yeah. There's quite a few. What's that other one? You've got. I thought that said. I thought that said Frenchman's arse. It does.
I thought that said bacon.
Bacon. That says Baku, not bacon.
Bacon.
Dear. Well, Baku is in Barbados, and similar to the Arabic genie or Irish leprechaun, the Baku is a small and mischievous spirit who is compelled to do the bidding of the person who captures him in a bottle. The Baku should be fed with bananas and milk, and is generally ordered to do tasks that his owner is not willing to do. These tasks range from small pranks to more aggravated violence against enemies. He may also supply his capturer with wealth. I think if I captured one, I'd just be like, "Do you know my father? Oh, Jesus, sir! Jesus, where's the pot of gold there?" Allergic to Ireland. That's because they are a member of the Fey folk, and Fey folk cannot touch, cross, or hold iron. Yeah, they came through on portals. So. Have you got anything there you want to stick in there about?
I've just found one which is oddly enough or weirdly enough is Caribbean wide.
Yeah,
but it's called different things in different parts of the Caribbean, and it's mainly known as a jumbie,
right?
Also known as a mendo. Which is a type of mythological spirit or demon in the folklore of some Caribbean countries. Jumbie is the generic name given to all malevolent entities. There are numerous kinds of jumbies, reflecting the Caribbean's complex history and ethnic makeup, drawing on African, Amerindian, whatever that is, East Indian, Dutch, English, and even Chinese mythology. Different cultures have different concepts of jumbies, but the general idea is that people who have been evil are destined to become instruments of evil in death. Unlike ghost folklore, which represents a wispy fog-like creature, the jumbie casts a dark shadow figure. But the belief is also held by practitioners of Obeah, a form of mystical wizardry that encompasses traditional African beliefs and Western European, primarily Anglican images and beliefs concerning the dead.
So a bit like voodoo and hoodoo.
Yeah, very similar. In the French islands of Guadeloupe, Martinique, people speak of zombie rather than jumbie to describe ghosts, revenants, and other supernatural creatures. The Etang zombie in Guadeloupe owes its name to the legend of the wife of a slaver who was killed by her husband for trying to free his slaves and now haunts the pond. People of the Congo speak of what they believe to be the Nfumbi, ancestral ghost, which makes one wonder if there is a correlation between the words Jumbie and Nfumbi.
Sound like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, a Moko Jumbie is the protecting spirit in Trinidad and Tobago. In the Bahamas, it's also called Sprit, as well as Jumbie. Jamaica and Barbados, it's called a Duppy.
Yeah.
But then it gets quite amusing. If I can find where it's gone. Oh, where's it gone? There was a bit here. I found it quite funny. Oh, there we are. There are many recommended ways to avoid or escape a jumbie encounter. And this first one got me giggling. If a pair of shoes is left outside the front door of a house, jumbies who have neither feet who have either no feet at all or backwards feet will spend the entire night trying and failing to put on the shoes rather than enter the house.
So they're not blessed with intelligence.
They're not blessed with intelligence by the sound of things. Jumbies are similarly distracted by a heap of sand or salt or rice outside the door, since their obsessive curiosity, particularly in the case of Fire Ass and Old Heeg, Fire Ass. Fire. It's spelled Fireerass. So Fire Ass.
Firaras. Sounds German, doesn't it?
But it says it compels them to count every grain before the sun rises. Likewise, a rope with many knots in it will keep a jumbie busy trying to undo them until sunrise. Another one was upon coming home late at night, walking backwards may prevent a jumbie from following one inside. And if a jumbie chases a person, crossing a river may stop them, since it is believed that jumbies, like their relatives in numerous cultures, cannot follow over water.
That's like a lot of stories about elves and gnomes and the fae folk.
But again, like it sort of I read earlier on was that the fact that some of them there is the Caribbean has got a complex history and it's all over the place, from Africa, East Indian, Dutch, English, and Chinese mythologies. So it seems to me that all these these myths and legends on the Caribbean islands, they're all in relation to something that's come from one of those previous areas that have heavily influenced the way of life on that island.
That's like Japan now, isn't it? Japan's heavily influenced by all the cultures from around the world. The only thing that's
Yeah.
remained sort of about the same with them is their religion, but everything else, everywhere you look, is all different influences.
But again, when you look at Japanese culture, when you go over to Japan, if you go into somebody's house, what's the first thing you do?
Take your shoes off.
Take your shoes off and you leave them at the door. Which in there, you see, you leave your shoes at the door, the jumpy will be spending the rest of the night trying to put the shoes on.
Well, speaking of somebody with an artificial leg, if I've woken up and I'm not with it and I haven't got my leg on, trying to put a second shoe on does take the piss a bit. Before we disappear, shall we talk a little bit about Belgium, because we haven't touched on Belgium yet. Don't walk across the camp. You're going to get your furry ass out the way. Go on. So Taylor's going to do the castle in a minute she went to, but I found now where was it? Belgium's actually got a lot of haunted history in there, but there was one here. Where's it gone? There it is. The White Cavalry. And goes back to World War One. In 1918, in Ypres, the British captain Hayward saw how the Germans threw granite and shot at an empty piece of land. After fighting their non-existent enemy, they suddenly turned and fled. And basically another battle ensued, and this captain managed to capture some of these Germans. And he was like, what the hell were you doing? You were lobbing rocks at nothing and you were shooting at nothing. You know, what on earth did you see? We couldn't. And it turned out the German colonel that he captured turned around and said to him they had seen a strange army in white riding on white horses. They trotted straight through their bullets and the stones that they were throwing, coming closer and closer and closer. And then the German battalion was then overcome by a almost mass hysteria. And that's when they all went, Achtung! And boom, give it legs. And they all ran off. Now, there's a little thing addendum on the end of this that says hallucinations caused by the stress of war, perhaps. But there are stories from both the First World War and the Second World War where there have been ghost battalions of long dead soldiers come up and has been seen on both sides and have scared the crap out of these guys. So I'm wondering if in times like that they come back.
The problem is as well, though, is that obviously in the First World War there was the use of mustard gas.
That's right.
And some mild nerve agents. So, you know, could it have been a gas attack? Maybe.
I had one of those in Tesco today. It was horrible.
You know, could that have caused mass hysteria and hallucinations? You go into the Vietnam War and there was the usage of LSD and things like that. The mind playing tricks on them, believing. You know, you're standing in a trench or sitting in a trench waiting for the enemy to attack or waiting to attack. Everything's quiet until the moment that you're due to go over the top. Your mind would start playing tricks on you. You would hear sounds that you may not have actually heard.
Well, what's it called when shell shock?
Yeah.
PTSD.
But the problem was then it wasn't classed as PTSD and no one really took any notice of it. It was just classed as shell shock, wasn't it? You know, you'd gone mad through the fact that it's war. And could that have been playing tricks with them? You know, could they have been seeing this battalion? Was this battalion real? And has anybody seen it since?
To be honest, I didn't even look any further into it. I just saw that and thought, oh, that's interesting. Put it down.
But it is quite interesting to know whether anything had been seen since World War II.
I'll have a look later on, see if I can find any more on it. One more before she does hers, and then we'll bugger off and leave nobody to it. This I found quite interesting. This one, The Eyes in the Forest. Oh, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. It's Deogen. Jürgen, something like that.
Jürgen, yes.
No, I'm serious. It's a
sounds Flemish.
Yeah. It's a strange fog that hovers in the Sonian forest near Brussels. The fog has been described as greenish, but also as grey, orange, or white, dependent on the weather. What is consistent in the description are small shadowy figures seen in the fog and the sounds of laughing children. The name Diogen is a misspelling of the original name DE space Ogun, so the Ogun, which literally translates to the eyes. It's called the eyes because there is always something large that's seen in the fog that stares back at you. It's you, innit?
He just stands there, he's like, you guys going anywhere?
There have been reports of the figures near the forest that dart in front of cars and a bloody little handprint on a car windscreen that leaves as soon as the fog has disappeared.
No,
I'm going to debunk that right this second.
Well,
Guy Verhofstadt and his family out for a picnic.
go on.
Do I have to remind you who Guy Verhofstadt is?
Go on.
He's one of the EU pillocks that was so dead set against us leaving the EU.
Oh, yeah.
That's him and his family. You will stay in the EU. You will give up your sovereignty.
On that note, do you want to tell me about where you went?
I went to a castle in Ghent, in Belgium.
What do you call me?
No. What's the castle called, Dad?
Well, it's Ghent Castle, but it's like Grasbotten or something like that. Was it? It is. Is that my phone?
Yeah.
Did you close it all? You
it.
closed it. Why did you close it? I had that there for you for a bloody Gravenstein Castle. Gravenstein Castle.
Is old. We're talking
well.
back when witches were being accused of being witches.
There were witches held there, actually.
There was a witch held there because she was accused of being witch and having a gangbang with the devil.
Yeah.
And she made stew for the devil, but she didn't add carrots. So that made her a witch. So she was held there for weeks.
It was all right for her to have a gangbang with the devil, but because she didn't put carrots in the stew, they preferred presumably up her
That's
arse,
because she didn't give the healthy option.
Yeah, exactly. No vegan options here. And they held her there for a while. And their preferred torture for her was to fill a big cauldron and boil it and put her in it. And that's
With
how they
carrots?
get her to confess.
Yeah, with the carrots in it.
No carrots.
This is I don't know if you can see it properly. Hang on.
Torture
That's
chamber.
the torture chamber.
Oh, right.
And that has a ghost tour in it every day, and apparently there's noises heard, orbs have been seen. Orbs half the time it's bloody dust.
You can buy a speaking tour, which is what we did, and he describes that there's an Iron Maiden like helmet thing in there. There's a stretchy
not
table.
the Iron Maiden.
No, not that Iron. There's a
Not
stretchy
Bruce
table.
Dickinson.
No.
There's a stretchy table, with the arms and the legs.
The rack.
Yeah. There's
Stretchy table.
There's the pears in there. The pear of
despair. Do you know what the pear of despair is?
Is it a spare pair?
The pear of despair is a contraption that was used predominantly on homosexuals, lesbians, or adulterers. And the pear of despair would be put in an orifice, like on a woman, you've got option 1, 2, or 3, or on a man, you've got option 1 or 2. And it had a thing that ran through it and a thread, and it opened from the bottom bit like that. And they would put it in whichever orifice and wind it open. So either your jaw would go, or your backside would go, or your would go. And that was one of their favourite things. The other one was to put people on the rack, put a pipe in their mouth and fill them up with water and urine and anything else they think could go down there. Mm. This is the Belgians.
The stretchy table.
On the stretchy table.
Yeah.
In the very bottom of the castle, they had Viking ships go in there, and you can walk down, and they don't have an actual. But actually, no, I think you might. No, because you're allowed on it. There's no way you're allowed on a real Viking ship. and they have a replica of the type of ships that the guy who owned it had.
What, the Vikings used to go live
Yeah,
there?
they could go. They like, well, I don't know if it was all Vikings,
'Cause
but
they were
they could
mercenaries
get
for
a
a time.
Viking ship in because it's built on water, and it would go in, and there's like a mini dock inside the castle.
That'd have been to drop supplies off and trading and stuff like that, wouldn't it?
They used to use the Vikings as mercenaries, didn't they? All over the Europe.
And then the
Well, that'd also
scariest of
that'd be where
all,
the carrots come in, you see.
yeah, the scariest of all, just outside, we found a crack pipe.
Outside the castle?
Yeah.
So they can put you on the stretchy table and then shove a crack pipe anywhere and just light it.
Yeah, maybe a crack pipe in your crack.
Or maybe they'd have given you the crack pipe first before they stretched you, so that you were mellowed out before they increased your length.
That's the carrot up there.
I still can't. I can't believe that out of everything, the only reason that poor woman was executed in a pot of boiling oil. Doesn't matter. She had a gangbang with the devil. She made a stew and didn't have any carrots in it.
Carrots in it.
Yeah, but you see, the only carrots she had were bendy ones, and that was against EU directives.
They had the wrong batteries.
Also, they had a giant pit.
I wondered where you were going then.
There's a giant pit that goes like imagine how big a castle is. It goes like 3 stories through the castle, and there's a grate at the top where you stand, and he used to throw, like, the guy who owned it used to throw bits of food and stuff in to his captors.
Prisoners.
Yeah. He used to throw bits of food and stuff in, and there were like rats eating all the food, and then the people would die and the rats would eat the people, and there's poo everywhere. It's disgusting. But you could throw pennies in it.
And there you have it. Belgium. Ghost soldiers and rampant torture.
Sounds about right.
And the EU, yeah.
I was going to say nothing seems to have changed. We're still being shafted by the Belgium.
Well, she was shafted without a carrot, wasn't it? And before we go, just for Helen, because I know she's going to be watching this later. Do you want to show them bum?
I sent her a photo.
Show them bum. No, I said Helen.
Right.
Not Ellen. Helen. Helen. Helen and Ellen. There's Ellen. Right, go on then.
Bob.
He's really low.
Yeah, they couldn't find his head on the scan. It was so low.
He's in your butt.
He was in my butt.
He's right down in your pelvis, isn't he?
Yeah, it feels great. I love it.
They reckon that she's got another 4 weeks left.
Pardon?
Got another what?
They reckon she's got another 4 weeks left. No, I don't think that at all.
The thing is, me and Ellen were talking about, and I had a look, and they said it is quite common for pregnancies to go over 42 weeks.
Yeah. Oh no, but I booked myself in at 40. I said if he gets to 40 weeks, I want to sweep, and they booked me in. So,
Yeah.
In hospital at Christmas.
Yeah, pretty much.
Judging by what you said, you're already over 40 weeks.
Yeah, I know.
Apparently not.
Apparently not. Apparently
No.
it's just his stomach. His stomach is apparently off the charts with how big it is, and the rest of him's fine.
There's no bull.
Yeah, but the thing is it sort of goes against all the measurements, because, like you say, you have to give them conception date so that they can work out the due date. But if the due date is sort of like now, how can they turn around and say it's going to be due in 4 weeks' time? That's another month. You see?
I reckon.
When I went to the scan on Wednesday, I said implantation and spotting was this date, and he went, "Oh, were you IVF?" And I said, "No, I just know when it happened." But he didn't put that down. No, another consultant hasn't said anything.
You keep a score in the back of your diary, don't you? And just write moderate. I'll give it 5.
No, you know how much pain I was in.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it does state there that it's not uncommon for a pregnancy to go over 42 weeks, and they do reckon that I think the article I read, which was an NHS article, they claimed that it tends to be quite common with women where it's their firstborn, so it's their first child, whether they're intelligent or not. And I don't know where that comes into it,
quick question. Did you say it was the 16th of February?
Yeah.
Well, this is what the NHS website is saying. Oh, you can't see it.
Say 22nd of November, right?
Hang on, I'll screenshot it and send it to you.
What did it? Coming up. What did it say? What did it say?
Oh, my back.
Sorry, there's nothing to.
Let me
Date
just
was more than 9
let me just
months.
wrap the show up a minute, and
Sure.
let me just wrap the show up a minute, and then we'll carry on talking. So, thank you
Yeah,
for listening here and over on Facebook. I've been checking the Facebook ones, and yes, people actually do watch it. Thank God for that. We're not just talking to ourselves. So, thank you for listening. And next week, oh God,
Sea.
we're going to be covering the seas,
I just need to.
and your
well,
hint doesn't begin with C.
you could have Cambodia.
Bye-bye.
That's got a lot of nasty stuff in it. So yeah, especially from the killing fields. Right. So goodbye to everybody, and we'll be doing the seas next week. So